So in addition to the ginger butternut orange soup that we're about to make, that I like to call bowl of sunshine, it's great for a rainy day, I also have found that a lot of people really enjoy ginger tea as an anti-nausea, anti-emetic, and something that really helps people go through chemotherapy. And it's kind of really hard at certain points to keep food in your stomach because you're not hungry, but the ginger has over 400 different chemical compounds that help you deal with, they're still discovering with all of the things that it does actually do. But just simply by cutting ginger like that, and obviously you can also just grate it, you don't have to be able to julienne it like that. But you just put this right into a teacup and put boiling water over this ginger and let it steep for 5 minutes. And you have a really nice, you can add maple syrup or honey or brown rice syrup. And it's just a really nice tea to sip throughout the day, and really, really beneficial for numerous reasons. Anti-emetic, anti-nausea, antifungal, and really delicious and nutritious. So the ginger butternut orange soup, you can see we have this beautiful organic butternut squash, and I'm going to go ahead and take it down and take the sides off of it so that you can use a really heavy duty peeler, but I like to just use a knife and just kind of go off it. Be careful because it's actually harder than it looks. On the outside of the shell it's pretty tough. But as I said, if you have a really nice peeler, you can just peel it. So I'm saving a little bit of time here. Pieces that are nice and straight are a little bit easier. And obviously this bright orange color lets you know that it's full of lots of nutritional benefits, full of beta carotene. It's wonderfully naturally sweet, so it's really nice in soups and things. When it gets pureed and cooked, it gets even sweeter. So usually what I do, instead of having to deal with this whole thing, I usually just work around each part of it. This way I don't have to go into the middle of the butternut and deal with the seeds. So I just cut around and I look where about that is. So now I have my nice chunks of butternut meat, so to speak. I have a whole onion, whole yellow organic onion here that we're going to use. And ginger, garlic, scallions, mirin, rice cooking wine, and a little bit of organic brown rice vinegar, fresh cilantro for the end, and a little bit of orange zest, which really gives it a nice aromatic quality. Okay, so I have my butternut ready to go. Rough cut an onion. I'm going to go into the kitchen and turn on my pan. And go back to some more my fresh ginger. Nice and small. We're going to end up straining this regardless, but definitely this, you know, we'll have nice transfer of flavor with these small little, smaller dice, or actually it's actually a brunoise, a large brunoise of ginger here. Small dice technically being 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch. Brunoise going from 1/8 of an inch to 1/32 of an inch cubed, depending on whether it's large, medium, or small. Small being 1/32 of an inch cubed. Okay, now sliced garlic. And again, it's personal preference in regards to amounts. And cutting the garlic this way keeps it a little bit mellower, as opposed to having it chopped really fine. Okay, I've got my prep there, and I'm going to come into the kitchen. And get my board. Little sesame oil. Ginger and garlic. To develop the flavor. Saute the ginger and garlic with the onions in the olive oil just until they start to get translucent. It's going to take about 5 to 7 minutes. Season just a little bit of salt. I'm just going to sweat the onions a little bit by putting a tight fitting lid and letting them let the moisture of the onions come out so that it goes in with the onions and garlics and starts to create one homogeneous flavor. And we're just going to make sure it's well stirred and let it sweat for about 3 to 5 minutes. And we're going to grab our mirin and our rice vinegar, and when that's done sweating, we will deglaze it with our liquids and add 2 quarts of water and the butternut squash, and then we'll let that all come up to a simmer. So now all these goodies should be nice and tender. I'm going to go ahead, turn it off for a minute. It's a good idea whenever you're making a soup, you're going to puree the main ingredients. You can use a stick blender, obviously. It's very handy to put the stick blender right in the soup and puree it. Not everybody has those, but just about everybody has a blender. So we're going to go ahead and use a blender. And what I like to do is remove a good bit of the liquid at first so that you can add it back and adjust the consistency of the soup. Because you can't put the liquid, you can't take the liquid out. if you leave it in. But if you strain it out and add it back in, you can control the viscosity of your soup. So I'm going to take all of our goodies. Go ahead and start to puree it, but you need to be real careful when pureeing hot liquids. We're going to go ahead and add some of the liquid back into the blender. And then the key is to get a plate, something relatively smaller, but not airtight, so you don't burn yourself. Take the top off the blender, put a plate over it, pulse it at first. Okay. We're going to go ahead and add some more liquid. Come over here and strain the rest of our soup. See the nice color, bright orange. So it's a little light in consistency right now. So as I'm adding the rest of my pureeable ingredients, I'm not going to add as much liquid to this batch, so that we end up with a nice thick soup. This is in the bottom of the pot. And look at that, I do not want to miss this. Look at all that ginger and garlic and goodies. Just going to take a little bit of this liquid. Garnish is the orange and cilantro and scallion. If you have nice firm oranges, you can zest them and just put a little bit with some nice thin strips of orange zest. And a little bit of scallion. And some fresh cilantro. And again, any of these that are not enjoyable, obviously, the soup is perfectly fine without them. Fresh cilantro. And that's the bowl of sunshine. Ginger butternut orange